And man, listen, it's about enjoying these moments. It's about understanding that, I have started meditating on the Calm app.
I like
And
that.
yeah, my wife got me doing it. Heather got me on it because it's something that I always felt like I was too busy to do, bro. But I have to like literally take time each day, just a moment of like quietness and still, because you know how it is. I'm moving all the time, just
Absolutely.
like you. So I never take time. Anyway, the thing I
Absolutely.
said today was about gratitude, and it was about.
Hold on. Let me introduce you first.
All right. I was
Let me,
into it. My
let me-
bad. Let's
let
go.
me introduce you first. Listen, today is a special guest on What's in Your Glass this week. A good friend of mine, friend of the family, just doing great work in the Black community, telling the stories, keeping our community uplifted, and so on and so forth. So today I want to big shout out to my brother Will Packer and welcome him to What's in Your Glass on this Monday. Will, now we can go, Will.
See, you can tell we like family for real. You know what I'm saying? we just popped off in this thing. We just started talking. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm all good. I'm good.
Yeah, me too. I was just saying that I am learning to find gratitude in everyday moments, because it's such stressful times right now. It is such challenging times, you know what I'm saying, for all of us. But look, me and you, we Black men, like you know how it is. It's like it's a little extra, it's tough and stressful for everybody. But certainly in the world, the way that it's laying out today, sometimes I definitely feel like I got the weight of the world right here, you know what I mean, on my shoulders. So I appreciate you letting me do this. And I was just saying that I am trying to learn to find gratitude every day, in everyday moments. It doesn't have to be something big, right? And that's something that I need to work on, because I'm always looking for like big things and big moments and big wins and big victories. But sometimes just every day is a victory. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's somebody watching right now that's going through something that sometimes you can change the way you look at things, just change your perspective, your angle a little bit, and it can actually benefit you because you find gratitude in what you're doing, in what you've seen, in what you've come through, in taking a breath. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at. I'm trying to find gratitude every day. And I'm grateful to be here with you, Pimp.
That's a fact. Likewise. I was saying, I think a lot of people would say this, that you're one of the greatest producers of our generation. And I want to just kick things off. Can you share with myself and just people who are watching?
Yeah.
In your words though, how would you describe a creative producer? Because a lot of people may not know what a creative producer, what they do, how they get ready, how they create. So just explain that to the people who may not understand that.
No, that's real. Most people don't know. So creative producer, think of it like a project manager. My job is to manage whatever the content is that I'm creating. Okay. So I have to go in and I have to put all the pieces in place. So if you look at a sports team, I would be akin to a general manager, and I would be the person that would hire the coach. Let's say that's the director. I would hire the quarterback or the star player, you know what I mean, who would be our actor. And I would be the person that would put all the pieces together in order for that content to be executed. When the Oscars come out every year, they have all these different all these different roles that get awards, all these different categories, excuse me. And so you got best actor, best director, best costume, best sound. But at the end of the night, the award to best picture, right, for the whole movie goes to the producer. So that's what I do. And as a creative producer, it means that I need to be making sure that what actually is going on the screen is something that is reflective of my perspective, my vision. I got to have a vision. So I'm not just somebody that just sits back and just cuts checks. I'm not somebody that just sits back and just hires people and says, hands off, I don't want to be involved. I have to be making sure that the project has my influence on it. So as a creative producer, my job is to get in there with the writers. I'm not a writer, but I work with the writers. I'm not a director, but I work with the directors. I'm not an actor, but I'm working with the actors. I'm making sure that they feel the support and the weight of me and my perspective and what I'm bringing to the project.
That's a fact. That cleared some things up for myself too.
Yeah.
You know, in your situation, in your position, because I know you and I've been around you while you work. It was always interesting to me to get a better understanding of exactly how that works. You know, behind the camera, the things that you have to put into it, the mindset that you have to have is very similar to any genre that's out there, whether it's filmmaking, whether it's sports. That mindset, you still got to have that same mindset.
No question.
You always find ways to create like top tier. Like you bring the black people out, like in the movie, you bring the black people out, man, and just, you know, the characters, the lives, the experiences, like. But you graduated with a degree in electrical engineering. How does that like?
Where that happened?
Like, how do you go? Did you ever imagine you would go from that to that?
Well, you know, I started while I was in undergrad, bro. I started while I was at FAMU. Shout out to the Florida A&M University, and my line brother. I'm a proud member of Alpha Phi Alpha. Shout out to the Alphas out there. And my line brother wanted to be a director. He wanted to be, you know, the next Spike Lee or John Singleton or the Hughes brothers, right? And I said, well, let me help you make your movie. And that's how it started at FAMU. So no, I did not. I was majoring in engineering, but I knew engineering wasn't my passion. I knew I wanted to go into business for myself, but I didn't know exactly what that was going to look like. And so along the way, and this is why you always got to take serious where you at in life, right? A lot of people like try to skate through and say, well, when I get to something that I'm passionate about, then I'll take it serious. A lot of people do that. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to get serious about it when I get that dream job or when I get in that position. But you never know what's going to happen to lead you to that, number one. Number two, you never know who's watching. And you never know the relationships that you need to be forming. So I formed relationships while I was in electrical engineering at FAMU. And I knew engineering wasn't my passion, Melo. That wasn't what I wanted to do. But I did want to be in business for myself. I stumbled into it because we shot a tiny movie while we was at school. It was called Chocolate City. And we hired our friends and frat brothers and people that we knew at school. We hired them to be in the movie and made a movie, even though I had no movie making experience. Putting the work in then and going hard, you know, they ain't gonna say it was the best movie ever, but it started me off. You know what I'm saying? Right. It got me going. That's Absolutely. How I ended up. And by the way, I think I still use my engineering degree, honestly, because it forces you to think analytically. And so I still use that analytical mind in my content creation. Because at the end of the day, analytics is about problem solving. Thinking analytically is about how can you be very strategic and pragmatic with solving a problem. I actually, even though I'm in a very creative field, still use my analytical mind in that way.
Damn, I would have never thought that you'd have went from engineering to filmmaking and doing it at the rate that you're doing. That's the opposite of the spectrum. That's two total sides right there.
Yeah.
But it's honorable though at the end of the day of what you do, how you're able to just you know your lane, you carved out your lane, and that's what you do. And that's something that I've always appreciated about you, and when you as a human being, as a filmmaker, like you always knew what you wanted to do, you knew your lane that you wanted to attack, and you attacked it. And I've always appreciated that with you. But going back to early, right before you started filmmaking, as you getting into it, were you in LA or like where were you at the beginning?
I was in Atlanta.
So was it a decision for you to go to Hollywood or Atlanta, stay in Atlanta, or what was that?
So I graduated from college and I said, I don't want to move to New York or LA because everybody trying to make movies is in New York and LA. You know, those are big ponds with a lot of big fish in them. And I felt like I would get lost. What would make me special? What would make me stand out? Since I've been young, I've been trying to do things that make me different than everybody else, make me stand out, right? I grew up in St. Pete, Florida. And, you know, I would oftentimes be like the only black kid in my classes. And I remember my parents early on telling me, you got an advantage because you're the only black kid in your class because you stand out. Everybody else got to do something to make themselves stand out. You stand out immediately. Now, once you come in and you get all this attention because you're the only black kid in the class, what are you going to do with it? And that kind of stuck with me. And I've been trying to take advantage of being something different than everybody else. And so I went to Atlanta because at that time, you know, the film industry wasn't popping in Atlanta, certainly not like it is now. And so I was able to come in and be, you know, I wanted to be a big fish in a small pond. Now it took time. I didn't just come, you know, to Atlanta and start making #1 hit movies. That takes time. That's the grind that nobody sees.
Right.
But I never moved to LA. I mean, you know, obviously I'm there a lot now. I have an office there and we do a lot of things out of New York, but I never actually said in order to be successful, I have to be physically in Hollywood. And I'll be real with you, Melo, I think it gives me an advantage not being in Hollywood.
Right.
I think, you know, being around people that aren't in the industry a lot, you know what I mean? Like not being out in that Hollywood circle, that bubble, that kind of like everybody kind of starts thinking the same. You know what I'm saying? I never wanted to do that. I wanted to be different. And so I think that I think differently because I interact with different people, not being full time in Hollywood. I'm there all the time. But I think it gives me advantage being in Atlanta, traveling as much as I do, or at least I did. I think it gives me advantage, gives me a different perspective, even on the content I create. You know what I'm saying?
Atlanta definitely gives you a culture, right? It gives you everything in our culture.
It does.
And for you to make that decision, a lot of people wouldn't have never made that decision or hasn't made that decision because, again, they may feel like they're missing out or they're not part of an actual circle. And what you're doing and what you've actually created in Atlanta is special. I mean, to have what you do based out of Atlanta. And be able to tell the stories that you tell and make the films that you make.
Yeah,
you can tell that you're actually still there. You can tell that you're in the culture. You talk to the people. You're grounded because that's what your surroundings is. So it comes out in your art. I'll tell you that.
I appreciate
you. Let's talk about the Quibi for a minute. The black ball that you
did. Yeah.
Let's jump into that. What made you jump into that?
So I have always been fascinated by the intersection of sports and race, sports and culture. You know what I mean? Like what cats like you do is you bring culture to a global audience that otherwise may not be exposed to it, right? The most high-profile black men on the planet, the most high-profile group of black men on the planet are NBA players, period. And yet there's this expectation that, you know, you guys are supposed to be just NBA players, not black men who happen to play basketball, but basketball players. So, you know, when you go and you step on that court, you got a job to do. You do your job, right? But at the end of the day, then you go home, you got a family, you know what I'm saying? You have to deal with some of the same instances that somebody who looks like you but cannot do what you do on a court has to deal with. So I've always been kind of fascinated by this like American obsession with sports, but sports through the lens that they want it, in the bucket that they want it, in the you know, the capsule that they want it in, not like full human being. So Black Ball is the series that I made for Quibi. And I produced it, and it explores what happened when Donald Sterling was caught on tape saying crazy racist stuff when he was the owner of the LA Clippers. And this back when it was, you know, CP and DeAndre and, you know, those cats were out there. And it was right before the playoffs that these tapes came out. And it explores that time period. Doc Rivers was coach, obviously. It explores that time period and how they dealt with it. To me, that's fascinating, man. I've always been super interested in how sports, it is so, you know, magnetic, right? It attracts so many people. And yet it still can be very polarizing when you go beneath the surface and you look at these people as humans, as human beings with opinions and with thoughts. A lot of times that gets in the way of this American idolization of their sports stars. You know what I mean? They don't want to see them as real human people with thoughts and feelings and families and emotions.
Right.
They want them to shut up and dribble. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I got a lot of respect for cats like you to do what you do, but do it unashamedly as who you are, right? And you don't mind putting your beliefs out there and saying, yeah, you know, I may be a player for whoever, but that's not who I am. That does not solely define me. So that was just an examination of that series was.
So because you was always fascinated with that within sports and just the underbelly of sports, going beneath the layer. Did you learn a lot more than what you already know about that situation? Or when you got that, it was like, oh shit, like I have to tell this story.
Yeah. Nah, dog. When I got in and I started, you know, we had an amazing team on the project, and when the footage started coming in from the interviews, and I reached out. It wasn't just the Clippers players. We got Adam Sterling in there, and we got cats like Stephen A. and Jamel Hill came and gave their perspective. It was powerful, Melo, and it was a lot of stuff I didn't know. It was a story that I felt like I know. I thought I knew it. Like, okay, you know, a rich white dude got caught saying some racist stuff. What's new, right? That's kind of how I looked at it. But then you go underneath the surface and you realize that, like, this was a team of cats that were faced with the burden of fixing the problem. And there's a quote that Jamel Hill says in the piece that too often the victims of oppression are the ones that are expected to solve the problem.
Absolutely.
And, you know, that's even true today. You know, even as we look at where we are in the country, you look at all the unrest that's happening and, you know, all the cries for social justice. And you got a lot of people looking at folks that look like me and you going, how you going to fix this? We didn't create it. You know, we can certainly work to help those that are in positions of power try to fix it, but it's not really our burden to fix where we are in this country. And I feel pretty strongly about that.
It's funny because the story that you told about blackball,
yep,
and what those Clippers players did in the stance that they took. If you fast forward till just recently in the bubble when we took a similar stance, of actually taking it a step further and not playing.
Wow.
Do you think that there's any progress and that we've made since that Clippers incident, since the Clippers protest? I would call it the Clippers protest.
Yeah. Yes, certainly. And in some respects, a lot of progress. In some respects, not much at all. I think that as a league, you guys have, like, making that move in solidarity. And I actually would love to get your thoughts about it, like how it felt being there in that bubble at that time, making a statement like that. Like, did it feel risky and precarious and like, what are we doing? Or did it feel like we know what we're doing, we're for sure about this? Was there any trepidation or question? I just love your thought on it from the outside.
Well, what happened was it was a domino effect, right? So Milwaukee did what they did, and then it was games after that. So it became a domino effect of games just canceling, and we was really it's one for all and all for one. Okay, we supporting the Milwaukee Bucks. You know what I mean? Like, they not playing, we not playing. You know what I'm saying? So now what we do to move forward, are we not going to play anymore, or we going to figure this out, right? So it was a lot of that. But then I would say 36 or 48 hours, like, it was so much energy being exhausted. It was so many emotions going on at that moment. I mean, you're talking about 300 plus players in one area. Everybody has their own mind going. Everybody has their own thing that they stand on and that they believe in. Everybody agrees, some not, some don't. So it was, I wouldn't say it was tension, but it was a different energy. It was a weird energy because there was a part of us that was like, damn, we can end this right now. Like, we felt that we had that power, but we had to look at it and we had to be open-minded about the situation.
But
some people liked it, some people didn't.
A lot of people didn't. What do you mean? Right. People, that pissed a lot of people off, man.
Because I'm saying like athletes, like, that was there.
Yeah.
Some people liked it, some people didn't. But outside the actual bubble, people hated that shit. Like, nobody liked that. Nobody liked the fact that, we did that and we ain't we ain't followed through. Like people didn't like that, but that's something that we had to figure out amongst ourselves.
You know, here's the thing with where we are today, it's about like power seeds nothing without demand. Okay.
Absolutely.
You have power, you do not give it up without somebody demanding you give it up. That's the definition of power. You typically, power structures, people in power, people that have generationally and historically had power, got that power by being unwilling to give it up. That's how they got that power.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
And so what you guys were doing was looking at the face of power in this country and saying, we demand something, right? That's a dangerous act. Some people,
that's a dangerous act.
That's a hostile act. But the reality is that without that, right? And that's the thing about the moment that we're in right now, is that it's not going to all be, you know, just cookie cutter clean. You know, it's not going to all just be easy and, you know, hey, can we change things? Can we legislate, you know, morality and racial justice? And then it happened. It's not going to be like that. A lot of it to be ugly, you know, and this is a country that is built on a foundation, right, that has a lot of cracks in it. And when you got a house and you know that you need to fix the roof, but you don't, you know what I mean? Because it's going to cost too much money. You know what I mean? You just bought a new roof. And even though somebody says it needs to be, you know, fixed again, you say, I'll just wait. How much? Now I'll wait till next year. Well, eventually that roof is going to come crashing down on you. And it's not going to crash down in nice, neat, symmetrical pieces. Okay. It's going to just come falling. And sometimes it's going to fall in the tub in the master bedroom and set the kitchen on fire. You know what I'm saying? And mess up the backyard. And sometimes it's going to, you know, mess up the Macy's, right? Or the government building or the police station. Sometimes it's going to look like a riot because the foundation was not there. Now it's coming crashing down. And so we're at a point where we need to just be very honest about where we are as a country, who we are as a country, and understand it's not going to all be nice and neat and all the NBA players play the game exactly when they're supposed to, wear the jerseys exactly the way they're supposed to, you know. No, sometimes it's going to look like a demand for change. And that demand for change is not going to always be something that makes everybody comfortable. If it did, it would not be a proper demand.
Absolutely. And those demands, I mean, again, we demanded that something that we needed change. But when you don't go all the way through with it, as you said, when you make these demands, you got to follow through with it. You got to follow through with all of this. So
that's real.
Again, that's why some people was on it, some people wasn't. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was a part of me that was just like, this ain't right. Like I know it ain't right because I know what people fought for. I know what people was dying for. I know what the people that came before us, what they laid the foundation for us to be able to go out there and do today. Yeah. So it was a part of me like, damn, like I want to play. Like fuck that, I want to play. But nah, like we could change the whole world right now. And like that was my mindset. Like we can really shut the whole world down. We're that powerful, and we got to understand how powerful we are. If we really want the change that we want, we can have it if we really wanted to. But with that demand comes a lot of other BS that comes along with that. So
and risk.
Absolutely.
Nothing.
And you got to be ready for that. Like you have to be ready. Everybody's different, but you as an individual have to be ready for whatever that you're going to face after that decision.
Yeah. And listen, everybody's risk tolerance is not the same, but also everybody's position and ability to take risk isn't the same. You know what I mean? If you've been in the game for a minute, like you got a bigger voice than most cats. You know what I'm saying? Right? When you on legendary status, you can say something a little bit different than somebody that's just coming up. It's a bigger risk for somebody that's new. You know what I mean? And this goes beyond NBA, obviously. I'm talking about
of course.
But using the NBA kind of as symbolic, you've got people that have got big voices. You know what I mean? People that can say something and everybody has to listen, and you got other people that nobody wants to hear from. Do they still let their voice be heard? Right? Are they still willing to say, I'm going to risk it, even though I know I could get cut tomorrow and nobody cared? Right? Like, to me, it's the people that are unafraid, especially in times of adversity, to do what's right. Those are the ones, to me, that are the true heroes, the true warriors. You know what I mean? People that's willing to do what's right when nobody's looking. People that's willing to do what's right when they don't have to. You know.
So, and that's an interesting segue going. I want to ask you something about just where we at. Where do you feel we're at as a Black community? I mean, we all talk about it. We all understand it. We all know it. But you personally, because you're in Atlanta, right? Predominantly Black, and that's Black America right there, right? That's the Black Wall Street right now. Like Atlanta is the new Black Wall Street right now, and I say that because you guys experiencing a different, like something else. You guys are open. You guys are having fun, enjoying in the midst of everything that's going on. Your culture. That's just what it is. What would you say to our community, like our Black community right now, and what we're dealing with? How would you put it in words?
Listen, man, it's interesting. You said that we open in Atlanta. Let me tell you something, Mello. It's place in Atlanta. They partying like it's 2019.
I already know. I already know that.
Hey, the A is open for better or for worse. Georgia is open. Listen to me, bro. I'm not. I'm gonna tell you now. I believe in COVID. You know what I'm saying? I believe in it. You ain't gonna catch me out without a mask on with a bunch of you know what I mean? Look, you got to live your life, you know, and you have to, you know, do what you can do to provide for your family. And I would never judge somebody that says, you know what, I got to go to work to provide for my family. Now, right. If you're making a choice socially, like you say, what would I say to the Black community? I would say that don't get distracted. That's what I would say. Okay. We are at a pivotal moment in this country, this society, and especially within the Black community. Don't get distracted. All right. It's a lot of noise out there, right?
A lot of noise.
Listen, we got the most important election of our lifetime coming up from the top to the bottom, not just the presidential. And it's just too many cats out there that's like, you know what I mean? The government has never done anything for me. Why should I go participate in the process? And I get that. Like, I don't, you know, look down on anybody that has that opinion, but I try to say, listen, understand that exactly what some folks want is for you to be disenfranchised and feel like you can't make a difference, because you actually can. But if you feel like you can't, then they win. They're able to continue the status quo. So my thing is, we know what not voting, not participating in the process, not coming out in droves has done. That's what happened in 2016. We know what that looks like, right?
Right.
So and we also, by the way, know what it looks like from an election standpoint when we do come out in droves, right? Because that happened in 2012, right? In 2008, that's when we got the first Black president elected. So we do know that there is a difference. Is the system working for us? No, it's not designed to work for us. It's not set up that way. Do we need to change it? Absolutely. Do we need to demand change from the outside of the system? No question. Do we also need to put people in positions of power to demand change from within the system? Of course. We have to do both. We have to do both. So I just would say, let's not get distracted. Let's make sure that we do show up and make our voices be heard, while at the same time demanding justice from outside. But we need people inside as well as outside. That's how you change. This is like a huge boulder. It's going to take a lot of people pushing from a lot of different directions in order to move this thing. But we got to be pushing together, period.
That's a great point. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But that right there, what you just said, segues into another question that I have for you, because how do you translate that into your filmmaking, right? Because this is a very pivotal time for the Black community. And you as a creator, you as a filmmaker, you have a different type of platform to tell different type of stories and get different messages out there. So how are you working within these realms on telling them stories that you want to tell?
Yeah. You know, I have never been more aware of the power that I have, that my industry has, than right now, right? Imagery is so powerful. If there's no video of George Floyd, you don't have hundreds of thousands of people in the street.
Right.
If there's not video of Jacob Blake, the Milwaukee Bucks don't say we're not playing, right? And then thus the whole NBA playoffs get shut down. part of the reason that there has been such a cry for justice that many people feel has been ignored around Breonna Taylor is because we don't have the visual evidence. We're in a visual society, Mello. That's how people, I can tell you something, but until you see it, until I can show it to you. And so that's the power of the medium. That's the power of what I do. So what I've tried to do for a very long time is to put imagery out there of folks that look like me and you that runs counter to what Hollywood has done forever, right? And I make a lot of different types of movies, you know, and
absolutely.
I'm proud of that. But I also try to make sure that you see Black people that are intelligent, articulate, well-to-do, behaving good, behaving bad. I want to make sure that I have a breadth. The problem is that we, for so long, have not had a variety of images of Black people. And so the power, see, before that animal can kneel on George Floyd's neck, right, for damn near 8 minutes, for damn near 9 minutes, excuse me, before you can do that, before you can stand on somebody's neck and murder them, you got to feel like they are inhuman or superhuman. And Black people are neither, of course. But you have so much imagery showing us as one way or the other. And that is powerful because people believe it. You got somebody in living on Pennsylvania Avenue right now that people believe is a very successful businessman. Well, he had a TV show, and that TV show said that he was a billionaire, and they had him in front of buildings in New York, and they shot him at angles where the camera looked up at him, and the music swelled when he came on the screen. That's power of imagery.
That's a superpower right there.
And he looked like a Superman. And
right.
You had some people that believed it. They was like, yo, he's successful. Now, had he bankrupt numerous companies? Had he filed for bankruptcy himself? Now we know that he really, didn't have that much money and was not paying much in taxes. Like now, the veil is coming off, but there was this perception of him being successful. He was able to get the most powerful position in the world because of that perception. So I just say all that to say that for me, I take it very seriously, the imagery that I put out there. When people go see a movie of mine, that's an hour and a half where I got you, Mello. I got your eyes, I got your ears, I'm in your brain. So what am I doing with that imagery? I take serious responsibility for that because kids are watching it, adults are watching it, people that, will believe anything they see and don't read, like they are watching it. So what am I going to do with that imagery? How am I going to show us? Because that's going to affect the next cop that pulls somebody over. So I take it serious. And again, it's not about saying, well, I'm only going to show, one side of Black people and they're all going to be perfect and they never do anything wrong. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I'm trying to show real, holistic, human portrayals of folks that look like us. And I'm not just making movies for just Black people. That's right. The point either. The point is I want to tell universal stories and I want to have people that look like the world, right? But I'm unashamed that it's going to have a perspective and some flavor that I'm going to put in it. You know what I'm saying? If my name is on it, it's going to have some flavor.
Speaking of flavor.
All right.
You working on something right now. You're working on a project right now that I always wanted to do this project, FYI. The Doug Williams story, the biopic.
Yeah.
I think that story is so timely. As a fan, as a Black athlete, as an athlete in general, there's so many different stories that should be told that's never told or told the wrong way. And somebody like Doug Williams, who I'm sure people may know him and the younger generation may not know who he is, but what he had to go through as a Black quarterback for the Washington Redskins.
Yeah.
What made you decide to do that, like his biopic? So
I'm from Florida. I'm from St. Petersburg, Florida. That's in the Tampa Bay area. So I grew up, and I still am to this day, a huge Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, right? Not by choice, just you born in. If you're a Bucs fan, you don't choose life, man. I'm
not gonna hold that against you. I'm not gonna hold that against you.
Don't hold it against me because I don't have a choice. It's just who, I'm always the only Tampa Bay Bucks fan that people really know. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely.
Brady, man, my phone blew all the way up because nobody knew who else to call. So everybody hit me because I was the only Bucks fan they knew, right? So I grew up loving the Bucks, man. And our quarterback, the person that really first made us relevant and took us to the playoffs, was Doug Williams. And Doug Williams was a black quarterback at a time when it was not cool at all to have a black quarterback, right? Like this is pre Lamar and Colin and Patrick and Russell. Like forget all that. He was the only one, right? And he was getting paid way less than all the backups in the league. Like they weren't paying this man. He had such an incredible journey. The Bucks did not do him right. They refused to pay him. He lost his wife to a brain aneurysm. She died suddenly. He was unemployed. How many of us would give up in that kind of scenario, right?
A lot of people.
Come on. It's just, this ain't for me. He never gave up. He went and played for the USFL, and he finally landed as a backup on the Washington Redskins. And ultimately, he rose to become the starter and be the first black quarterback to win the Super Bowl. And he beat John Elway to do it, who was the golden boy, And so his story is inspiring, not just for what he did on the football field, but for what he represented. I will tell you right now, as a young black man growing up in the Tampa Bay area, watching that, I would see my dad and I would see the pride that would like swell in him. You know what I mean? I would see him like borderline tears in his eyes when he would watch Doug. And when Doug won, we all won, And when Doug lost, it felt like we all lost. So I want to capture some of that with the movie. I'm so glad you asked me about it because I'm proud of it. We're working on it right now. And, Doug is a legend. He's a legend. And thank God, he's still with us. He's still alive. We got to give our legends their flowers while they're here. So, yeah, we're gonna try to do right by that one, bro.
That's a goodie right there. I think a lot of people will get a better understanding on who Doug Williams, who he is, right? As a player, athlete, as a human being at the end of the day, right? And he got so much to tell. I mean, he dealt with things that we are dealing with today, right? It's very relevant as far as the social injustices that we are dealing with. He actually lived through it. He had to go through it, walk through it every single day. He was affected by it in a lot of different ways that only he knows, right? And it's a great story. It's a sad story, but on the flip side of that, he got he was the first one.
Yeah, man.
He was the first black quarterback in there. So I'm very interested in watching that one and seeing how that come to fruition. But what's next for you? What's next?
Like movie wise or like
just in the world of Will Packer, what's next?
Man, I'm trying to keep cranking these stories out. I'm not gonna lie to you. I got a lot more stories I want to tell. You know what I mean? I'm not done. I'm loving it. I'm having fun. I'm very active in terms of supporting causes that I believe in. I'm very active in supporting candidates that I believe in. It's an election year, so that's on my mind. I like you, Melo, take my role as a father very seriously. A lot of people know that about you. You're very serious when it comes to fatherhood. I am too. And my kids are getting older, man. I'm a little bit ahead of you in terms of my kids. And so it won't be long and my kids will all be out. My youngest is junior in high school. So I got 2 in college, I got junior high school, and I got 1 that's out of college. So I'm trying. I feel like at the end of the day, when you and I are gone, legacy is what we will have. That's what will remain. And I think a lot about that. And I think about like, who am I touching? Who am I influencing? And that is my actual biological family. And it also is just my fam, my career fam, and the people that are around me. Because I feel like if I'm successful, and I have been very successful, I'm very blessed. And if I'm just successful for me, all right, good for me. If I don't leave something for somebody else, if I don't touch people, you know what I mean? If they're not people that's like, yo, I came up through Will Packer's camp, I interned with him and I got to work on set and I learned this and learned that. And if I'm not leaving a legacy behind, then what am I really doing? So when you say what's next for Will Packer, bro, I'm trying to get this legacy right. That's what it is. I'm trying to touch people, man. I'm trying to like have people say that I was a positive influence on them. That's what's next for me. That's what I'm constantly working on.
We went through most of this interview. I ain't even asked you what was in your glass, what you was drinking. I know
I was waiting. I was like,
because we jumped right into it.
Yeah, that's me and you. That's how we go.
Absolutely.
Yo, I'm on this Uncle Nearest right now.
I like that. I had the luxury of tasting that.
You know about the Uncle Nearest? So
I like it.
A lot of people don't know Uncle Nearest whiskey, right? And you can tell I've been drinking it because it ain't. I might need to shout out to my guy Kenny Burns that put me up on Uncle
Absolutely.
Nearest.
Kenny Burns sent me the batch. He sent me the batch.
Uncle Nearest was a former slave in Tennessee who taught Jack Daniels how to distill whiskey. And they were friends. They had a it wasn't like Jack Daniels was his slave owner, but Jack Daniels learned how to make whiskey for him and then made Uncle Nearest, that's what they called him. They made Nearest Green is his real name. He called him Uncle Nearest. He made him a master distiller. He was the first master distiller at Jack Daniels. But now there's a sister, her name is Fawn Weaver, and she has taken this brand and this legacy. And now Uncle Nearest is its own brand and available everywhere. But Jack Daniels' roots are in this whiskey from this former slave who taught Jack Daniels how to make whiskey. And so this is my whiskey of choice, brother. Yeah, man.
Hey, look, Kenny doing his thing with that.
No, shout out to Kenny. It's good, brother. That's my guy. Like my family in real life. And I just love that. And I love the story, you know what I mean, behind it. And that, again, that goes back to the question of legacy, man, after we're done, right? Is somebody watching this right now that feels like they're doing all right in life? And my question and my challenge to them would be, okay, after you're gone, when it's over, then what? What are they going to say? Who did you influence? Who did you touch? Who did you make better? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm striving for. That's where I'm at with it.
That's what Uncle Nearest is. I don't have the luxury of drinking Uncle Nearest tonight.
What you on?
I'm on some. It's called Bedrock Wine Company. They sent it. I don't know if y'all can see. They sent it to me. I'm testing it out. I've been hearing some good things about it. I'll let y'all know how it is. And after we get offline, I'll tap back in with y'all. But
let me
know. It's good so far. It's good. It's good. It's a good one.
Okay. All right. Oh, now are you a wine drink of choice right now? All right. Let me give you 3 scenarios. Okay. All right. Post game. You know what I'm saying? Tough game, hard game, but it was a loss. All right. Kind of down, disappointed. You solo. What's in your glass then?
Bourbon.
Okay. All
bourbon.
right.
If I'm just, if I'm just after a game and just, going through it, trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm going with bourbon.
Okay.
But on a regular night after a game, I have to have a burgundy. I gotta have something. Well,
I was going to ask you celebration time. What we on? This celebration time. It's like we turning up.
We're going to get the big boys. we're going to get the big. We're going in the cellar for the celebrations.
Yeah.
We're going deep in the cellar. So that's, we going Bordeaux. We going heavy burgundy.
Okay.
We're going to get the big boys.
Okay. Are you serious with your wine though, huh?
I mean, I do good.
Yeah.
Nah, it's something that I actually I enjoy it, right? It doesn't take much. It's social, right? You get to have conversations with people. You get to, talk to people and socialize and, talk business, and it's not overbearing to anybody. It's, it's a soothing drink. It's a soothing situation. It's, you lay back. It's nothing too serious, right? It's you just laying back, kicking back, living room style. Just like me and you are having this conversation, we would be having the same type of conversation and the same vibe if you was actually here in my living room. So that's what, that's kind of what's in your glass came from, right?
Yeah.
And I want that vibe. I want those type of organic conversations. I don't want nothing forced. I want us to vibe out, and then your energy and my energy. Let's see where it goes. So that's really what's in your glass is really about, but to also to try to educate this younger generation on what wine really is, right? Because that's we're in a new boom right now. We're in a new wine boom, and I just want people who really into it to educate themselves, and I just want to play my part. That's it.
That's what's up. I like it. I like that.
Absolutely. What's your drink of choice?
Tequila.
Oh, damn. I shouldn't even ask you that. I already know that. I already know that.
Tequila, man. I'm sipping that tequila and lime. You know what I mean? On the rocks. Something good. You know what I mean? Something preferably high end. Because I'm getting older. My liver don't work the way it used to. So I need some high end type stuff. I used to drink anything when I was young. I tried that.
Might take a little bit longer this time around.
Tell you something. Y'all would be like, whatever happened to Will Packer? I get some of that rut got that I used to that gut rot that I used to drink back in the day. Some of that cheap stuff. Y'all would be like, hey, y'all remember Will used to make the movies? That'll be it for me, brother. I can't. Listen, it take me days now. I can't drink like. But you get grown, you understand that you sip, you enjoy it, you savor it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's about the experience and the enjoyment of the drink, and I understand that now. You know what I'm saying? Like before, it was just about what can we drink. We just
right.
I'm too grown for that now. You know what
I
I mean?
Now you're gonna take your time and figure it out. You're gonna really think twice about it.
Come on, man. Come on. I'm grown, man. I got to figure it out. Enjoy the experience. I'm trying to do that with life too. Like I have been go for so long that I'm trying to in this phase of my life really enjoy the ride and enjoy the process. You know what I mean? Whatever that process is, whether it be creation or even like this, like I'm really enjoying like vibing with you. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, this is just me and you. And I know it might be a couple folks that's peeking in, but this is me and you just having a conversation like we would at any time. And that's kind of dope. Like I'm enjoying the ability to do that. You know what I mean? So
I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that. We again, man, I just want to appreciate you jumping on this week of What's in Your Glass, man, and just vibing with me. As always, we family. You already know that. I do look forward to working with you in the future. I'll throw that out there.
Yes, sir.
What we always leave with the message, the last message. The guests get the last message. Okay. What is it that you want to send to the audience out there today?
Don't get distracted. That's what I would say. Don't get distracted. We're in an important moment right now, and you are an important part of that, okay? Don't get distracted by everything that's going on. Don't get distracted by the negativity. Don't get distracted by the noise. Stay focused. Keep your eyes on the prize and find gratitude in the small things that happen in your daily life. If you find that gratitude, you will realize that some of the things that are negative, that are not happening the way that you want them to, are not as important as the things that are happening that are positive if you become grateful for them. So that's my message, brother.
Will, you just dropped the mic, kid. You dropped the mic. I appreciate that as always. Everybody out there, but we already know what time it is. Let's get out there and vote, and let's really take this serious. Let's get on top of this, man, because this is a very pivotal moment for our community. And just for our country and the world as a whole. So get out there and vote. I appreciate y'all for tapping in today. Will, always love.
My guy, always love, my brother. Always. I'm pouring it up. Peace, bro.
Peace, my brother.
All right, yo.